So what are the 4 ways that we can assist you with doing an asset search? One of the most common types of requests for our agency is doing asset searches because we specialize in that. It's one of our practice areas. And so there's a lot of ways to go about it. And a lot of clients ask us, well, how do I do this? Do you do it? Do I do it? Can I do it myself? How much does it cost? And those are the most important questions. So there's 4 ways to go about it with our firm. One is you can do it all yourself. We have videos that you can watch on our channel that will give you instructions on how to do an asset search. You can download forms for free, blank forms, and do your own searching, right? A typical search is about 10 to 12 man hours of labor. Most of the cost of the search, when we do it, is the labor cost. There's very few hard costs that come out of pocket cash. Most of it's just the labor. So if you do it yourself, you eliminate most of that. Maybe you pay $5 or $10 for some deeds if you want to get property records, but that's option number 1 is 0. Option number 2 is we have a consulting option where you can book time with an investigator, live video one-on-one. You have their undivided attention. You can ask them questions. They can explain to you how to do an investigation, and that's something you can book through our website. It's right around $100. To have that undivided attention. If you decide to have us do it for you later and pay us to do it, whatever that $100 credits towards that investigation, so you have nothing to lose. But at least gives you an idea of what might go into doing the search. The third option is we have a do-it-yourself search package, where what we do is we start the search. We do some basic background checking on the debtor, the name, the address, where they live, their locations. And what we do is we create the same asset search template, the worksheet that we use, our investigators use internally to do the search. It has a section for bank accounts, for real estate, for vehicles, for corporate assets, all the different 11 asset classes. There's 11 kinds of assets. And we list out what they are and also the sources for them, what the links are to get that information. For real estate, how to access the deeds. For vehicles, how to access the titles. For bank accounts, how to get the bank accounts. We have the links, and if there's a login, we give you the login for that. Now, you still have to do the search. We don't do the search for you. And if there's any fees that you have to pay to get that information, you have to pay those fees. So if it costs, again, $5 to get a copy of a deed, you have to pay that. If it costs $20 to get copies of car titles, you have to pay it. Bank accounts, depending on how you search and how wide you want to search, could be $100, $150, $200. If you do that, you have to pay those fees to get those records, and you have to put the time in to do the research. But we give you the worksheet and the template and all the source links to be able to do that yourself. It costs just under $200 to do that. But remember, you're going to put in 10, 15 hours of labor to do all that. You'll have good support from us in the meantime. Option number 4, if you want us to do the whole thing, do all the search for you, you just don't have to blink an eye, we can do that. We'll use that same worksheet, but our investigators will spend that 10 to 12 to 15 man hours of labor to do all the searching. We'll pay all the fees to get the records. We'll compile the report. And the difference is we'll sign it under our investigator license, so if you need to use it for legal purposes. That's going to cost a lot more money. That's going to be probably close to $2,000 because our hours book out between $140 and $150 an hour times 10 to 15 hours. That's $1,400 right there just for labor, plus a few $100s for the hard costs, and that gets you up to right around $2,000. And for specifics, you can contact our sales department or email our help desk, and we can arrange any one of those. The live consultation, the do-it-yourself, or we could do the whole thing. But those just give you an idea of what options you have to get an asset search. Back up a little bit too. One of the things that a lot of people think of is just an electronic push-a-button asset search. There's a lot of sources online or even investigators that says, look, I'll run an asset search for $100. All they're doing is they're running like a LexisNexis report that your attorney could do for $20, $30. There's some companies like TLO or Draft or many other companies that sell database searches. It's basically like a fancy Google search or like a Info 411 search that has basic information. It has very little asset information, no bank accounts, not really real estate. It might show an address where they live, and it might have outdated deed information. Very rarely does it have vehicles. It's just a database search, and if you need one of those, there's plenty of sources for that. For those should cost $30 or $40, right? Because that's what it costs the company to create those. But it's purely electronic. It really doesn't have tangible information, but it's available. And if you don't really need a true full asset search, that may be an option. We don't do that only because in our case, either somebody really needs a good search, or you shouldn't get one at all because you don't want to rely on that search. When we do an asset search, we run one of those first to start with, but that's just to get the basics on the customer, or the subject, where they live, the date of birth, and then we use that to actually do the search. That's like the starting point. So those are your 4 options. You can do it yourself for free, and all the resources are on our website. You can do a live consultation with us to have us guide you when doing the search, about $100. You can pay us to prepare a do-it-yourself worksheet for you with some basic information, a little bit less than $200. Or we could do the whole thing. It costs about a couple grand for a normal debtor. If you have a debtor that's very complicated with multiple layers of LLCs and corporations and different things, it might be more because it's basically just hours. But in most cases, if we look at it and say, look, this is a normal human being, they have normal, they can have businesses and they can have complex finances, but they just can't be like Bill Gates. Wouldn't cost $2,000 to do an asset search. And we normally price it out as a flat fee. Right now it's about $1,860, I think, is the total. But we can adjust that too. If you want less in the search, we can take some things out. If you don't want real estate, we can take that out, or other things, and we can discuss that. You can contact our sales desk. So you have options. Depending on how important that search is to you and how important the accuracy of the results, you can do very basic, almost for nothing, all the way up to a lot of money. And that way you can decide how to approach that search to match what the use of it is for your case, for your peace of mind, or to recover money for a loss that you had. If you have other questions, check out our website, activeintel.com. There's a phone number. You can call our sales desk. You can email our help desk, or you can arrange for a live video consultation where it's just like this, only you can ask questions and you have our undivided attention for 35 or 40 minutes. Thanks for watching. We're glad you came. Help yourself to our website, and we'll talk to you soon.